Welcome back to LDB Games. I'm Lord Darth Balls, and this is going to be a video about every duplicate champion that I've ever built, and some that are on my to-build list. Right, we all know duplicates are a problem in this game. No, they were a big problem in this game, and PlayerUnknown's gave us a number of things to do with them, right? So they hang out in our faction guardians. We can unbind them for tokens, which I don't recommend you do. It's a terrible return on investment because these are incredibly expensive, and you have to pull a metric ton of shards to even get enough dupes to get one of these, and they never change. So I don't know. And then you can empower them as well. But I would only empower them once. You know, I've done a couple. But I would only really empower any more until I've completely filled up my legendary faction guardians, because I've maxed out one. You get some really good stats here for filling in your faction guardians, right? So let's get into the dupes that I've built. Let's put this by faction, and we'll go through by the different factions in this game, right? So the first one is going to be Arbiter. Funny story about Arbiter. She was the first Void Legendary I ever pulled on my account. And I hadn't completed the missions yet. So I totally lost steam on the missions and eventually went back and completed them. It was also kind of like a really semi-disappointing pull, right? Because Arbiter is a free-to-earn champion. So when you pull her from a shard, it's like, really? Did you have to give me that one? But I do have both of them built. This is my main one. She is my speed lead in the arena for my gold medal farming team. She's rocking 349 speed, and I've got intimidating presence on her, which is legit. My second one, I really just have as a second string. She's running pretty quick, 319. She comes into a couple of my tag teams. I may end up... I've stopped using her as much since I've pulled some other champions, and the meta is moving away from speed. I may end up taking her build apart and using her gear elsewhere, because there's some pretty good speed pieces sitting on her here. Moving on, the next one is going to be Royal Guard. Now, Royal Guard is one of the hardest hitting champions in the game with his A2 based on enemy max HP. So when I was first coming up in Spider and trying to figure out a Spider farm team, I had only maxed out one Cold Heart, and I maxed out my second to try to do something, right? To try to get through and try to build some type of team. Now, they're built about the same. One of them's just got a little bit more attack, right? One of them's 4,500 attack, 280 crit damage, 300 accuracy, and one of them is 3,600 attack, 213 speed, 220 accuracy, and 220 crit damage and 369 accuracy. I don't honestly know. I really only use one of them at this point. But I plan on, when I do inevitably get, deep into Hydra, I plan on using them both, because Royal Guard can hit and can do a lot of damage against Hydra. Moving on to the Barbarians. This is actually a rare champion that I built two of, but I didn't max them, right? And I built two of them for the secret room number 5 on the first rotation. I just put a video out on it because I completed it for the first time. I'll pin to that up top so you can check it out. She has an AoE on her A1, so they are both built in stun set to try to maximize the amount of control in that fight. Moving on, we've got the king of clan boss here. The double man-eater was the first reliable, unkillable team I ever built. Admittedly, I did spend a little bit of money on void shards during a ×2 to get my second one. It paid off in the end, but had I to do it again, I might not, although what's done is done. We can only move forward, right? One of them is built quick, 265. One of them is built a little bit slower at 247. And the two man-eaters combined with Seeker and Painkeeper in a Bat-Eater composition are an incredibly reliable, unkillable team. I do have a video on that. I'll pin to that up top so you can check it out. Moving down, we've got, who's next? I plan on, oh, actually, hold on. I plan on building 2 Ugos. I have one right now built in regen, and I plan on building a second one when I start getting deep into Hydra, because Ugo is a top tier champion for Hydra with her AoE, decreased defense, and block buffs. So, not built just yet, but on my list of dupes to build. Coming down further, another planned dupe to build is going to be 2 Tauruses. I recently pulled, I guess not so recent anymore. Time's gotten away from me at this point. I recently pulled a Zavia, and I really want to mess around with poison explosion compositions, and Taurus puts out 4 poisons on every enemy for 2 turns. So 2 of them can almost completely fill a debuff bar. And I really want to try them out with Zavia. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. You can see one of them's even ascended 3 stars to remind me, hey, build this one. But I haven't gotten there just yet. I built one of them for my hard spider team, which I'll pin up top for you guys. Moving down, who's next? Who do we got next? Right. Oh, they're sitting right next to each other. Look at that. Cute little couples. One of them is Bad Al. Bad Al is an absolute king in this game. He's got 2 abilities, and one of them is a full team cleanse with 2 continuous heals and 2 poisons, and he heals with his A1 based on the damage. Incredible champion. One of them I have built in stun set, and if I had 3, I might even build a third, because this one's multi-purpose. This one is built for my Hellcath clan boss team to handle the stun and to cleanse it, right? I'll pin to that up top. And I put him in stun set because I sometimes need a little bit more control in the higher level Dune towers. The other one was the first build, and I haven't really changed him yet. He's got good accuracy and good resistance, and he's built in reflex. So he's meant to be the never-ending cleanser, right? To resist all the control debuffs, to cleanse all the control debuffs, and to potentially get his cleanses, heals, and poisons over and over and over and over again. And he's running a little bit faster at 223. Now, right next to the pair of Bad Owls is a pair of Rhodos the Lost Grooms. Now, this is my main Rhodos. I did a guide on him. I'll pin to that up top for you guys. He's built in Relentless because Rhodos can string attacks together like you wouldn't even believe, right? His A1's got a chance of an extra hit. His A3 kills through unkillable and gives him another turn if he kills somebody, and he gets an extra turn if someone does more than 50% damage against him, and it caps the damage out. So putting Relentless on him just gives him that extra little chance to catch another turn. Now, I had built a second one, but there's an asterisk here, because I never actually used him. My plan was to try to build him for some type of solo content, because you can build him in Lifesteal, and I've seen a couple videos where he's soloed some Doom Tower bosses, but I haven't finished his masteries, and I have way higher priority in terms of my legendary books, since I don't spend that much money in this game. I don't buy books, right? So I tend to be very picky and choosy on who I book with my legendary tomes. So he's on the semi-to-build list because he's kind of built, but not really. Moving down, we obviously have my Cold Hearts. I actually have 3 of them built. One is for massive damage in Savage, one is for Scarab King, and one is for Dark Fae Hard Floor 120. Moving down, we have got Skullcrown. Skullcrown was my 2nd ever campaign farmer. My first was Kale, my starter champion. I pulled Skullcrown, and she is a top-tier campaign farmer. I built the second one, and I built her in stun. Both of her abilities are AoEs, and I was having a lot of trouble with Night Revenant's faction crypts. I probably would say it's one of the most difficult faction crypts. And so in order for me to complete it, I needed to have Skullcrown in a stun set to get a little bit more control on the waves. Coming down, I do have 2 Trundas. And early on in my arena, I used both of them in tag team. I would use both of them. This is my primary one, and I originally built her in Swift Parry, which I gotta say, when I did, came in really clutch sometimes because of how hard her abilities hit right? If I pop off the A3 and someone survives, like one of their damage dealers might survive because whatever reason, and the Swift Parry procs and she pops off with her A2, what a clutch win. It is so satisfying when that unkillable procs and she just mops up. So I built a second one for a second tag team arena, and I've kind of played around with her a little bit, but she's not fully built, right? She is booked, but she doesn't have all of her masteries. And I just recently moved her into Savage. The downside for this is I've now kind of stretched my Savage gear pretty thin. I've been farming Fire Knight. At the time of recording, we have a Savage drop frenzy or whatever it is. So I do plan on trying to push her crit damage up to 300, but she's sitting at 218 with 4,900 attack, and she's sitting at 223 with 4,900 attack. So they're like identical builds. The difference is she's in Savage. So I really want to get her masteries done and take her out for a spin and see how that Savage plays out. We're going to stay in the Dwarves for the next one. We've got Geomancer. So the main Geomancer that I use right now is this one. He comes into Iron Twins to help me do damage, right? I'll pin to a video up top for that one. And I removed his ring and his amulet so that I could clear Dark Fae hard 120 with 100% accurate, 100% consistency, right? 100% win rate, excuse me. Because he needs to be weak enough to get killed by my Hegemon, but he still needs to be strong enough to survive in the fight when Astronix does get her turn. So it's kind of funny little balance there with me stripping off his jewelry. The other one that I have built is actually, he's a stand-in for one of my clan boss teams. I have a double man-eater, unkillable, and I use Feign as my damage dealer. Now, I wake up, for clan boss for me is in the morning, so I try to get my keys in, before it changes to an affinity from Void. But if I miss it and it turns into Magic Affinity, I totally blanked on the affinities for a second, and it turns into Magic Affinity, my Feign is not reliable. So I have this Geomancer built to come into that clan boss team. Now, my Iron Twins and Dark Fae Geo is not built with crit rate. He's built with accuracy, tankiness, and speed. The Geo for my clan boss team, I did build with crit rate so that his hits do some damage too, in addition to his passive doing some damage. So he's got enough accuracy, he's the right speed, and he's got, a smidgen of crit damage to try to pump out some extra damage. Moving down the list, I think we're done. Yeah, so that's it. I really only have a couple dupes on my to build list, but those are all the dupes that I've ever built in this game and maybe used, right? I think there was one of them that one of them that I haven't used. But I do have a number of dupes, right? You can see I have all of my epics filled, and I'm working on my legendaries. The only legendary one I have filled is Undead Hordes. Besides that, the highest one that I have is 4 legendaries. So that's what I got, guys. Have you pulled a duplicate and built that champion? Let me know down in the comments below who you pulled as a dupe, how you built them, and where you use them. Thanks for watching, guys. If you've made it this far, I appreciate the view, and I invite you to subscribe to my channel and click that like button so that this content can be pushed out to other people and help bring them some clarity or information or some help in this game. I'm Lord Darth Balls. I'll catch you on the next video. Enjoy your raid.